Meeting called to order. Please stand for the salute of the flag. Freeholder Bobadilla, would you please lead us in the salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Here.
Freeholder Beasley.
Present.
Freeholder Clark. Absent Freeholder Gill. Absent Freeholder Johnson.
Present.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent Freeholder Owens. Absent Freeholder Vice President Sevo.
Here.
Freeholder President Watson.
Here. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, okay, and Madam Clerk, Freeholder Clark is present. Okay, Madam Clerk, let's go to the public comment session on agenda items for action only. Tonight, we will only vote on resolution number 27. So if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on resolution 27, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation and your address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone who would like to speak on agenda item resolution 27? Madam Clerk, let the record show that there is no one wishing to speak. Let's go, if there's any member of the public who would like to speak on any issue, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President.
Good evening.
Freeholder Board. A nationwide symposium on poverty and income inequality is scheduled to conference for 3 days in Newark at NJPAC from September the 8th through the 10th. This call to action assembly of experts from around the nation will share the latest research.
Did you put your name on the record?
I'm sorry.
Did you put your name on the record for us?
My name is Lloyd Bell. I live in Belleville, New Jersey.
Okay. All right, continue.
So this call to action assembly of experts from around the nation will share the latest research and newfound discoveries for reducing poverty and income inequality. The organization is seeking the involvement of all of the sectors of the community, but special efforts are being made to encourage county and municipal leaders, officials, and its staff to support this important program with attendance and participation in terms of workshop and program support. The goal is to offer newly discovered best practices on what actually work in reducing poverty and income inequality. The County of Essex and Newark will share in the spotlight of this nationwide symposium. I would like nothing more, Madam President, than to work with your office to determine what interest, if any, the Freeholder Board may have in this nationwide symposium. It is a symposium that is completely dedicated to finding new ways of addressing issues of poverty and income insecurity. And we were fortunate to have Newark selected as the area for the host city for this nationwide symposium. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the Freeholder Board, and I thank you very much.
Okay, and thank you for bringing the information to us. The clerk will follow up with that, and we'll respond to you. Thank you. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak?
My name is Tracy McClain. I have an interest in creating transitional housing in the West Ward with the purpose of helping the community. The transitional housing will provide free training and substantial gainful activities. I would like the freeholders to request Newark Housing Authority to make available a list of vacant structures the city would donate to a nonprofit organization to benefit the community. Thank you.
And thank you for comments. Someone will receive the information from you and we will respond. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to speak at this time? Okay, Madam Clerk, let's continue with the agenda, and let's go to ordinance. Please, let's go to ordinance O-2014-0002 and resolutions R-2014-0060, and let's move to the first reading from Mr. Sheila, and we'll list those ordinances at this time. Mr. Sheila, let's move to ordinance on first reading, and please explain the ordinance.
Yes, Madam President. The first ordinance is a salary ordinance of the clerk of the board of the chosen freeholders. And that, I believe, is the freeholders ordinance. The second is a resolution that we spoke about last freeholder meeting. That's regarding the Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Management Budget, the resolution to exceed the county tax levy and to establish a cap bank for calendar years 2014 per NJSA 40A4 4514.
Okay, before we go to that, Ralph, let's go back to the first reading on resolution on the salary ordinance, resolution O-2014-0002, and that, again, as you stated, was from the clerk, about the clerk of the chosen freeholders. So, Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions or comments on the ordinance on first reading?
No, I don't, other than the fact that it provides a range of salary for the clerk of the board over a period, I believe, of 2 years.
Okay, very good.
And this does not necessarily mean that the current wage will reach the maximum amount. And I can tell you from the budget we prepared, it does not.
Okay, very good. Freeholders, do you have any questions on the ordinance? This is on first reading. Is the ordinance on first reading? That's what I have here.
Listing only.
Okay, for listing only. Okay, let's go back then to, okay, let's go, that's, again, you're correct, that's resolution 0002, and we listed that. So let's go to the ordinance on first reading, and I think that's what, I noticed, Mr. McInerney, we asked if you had any questions, and Ralph did explain the resolution on 000160. So, no further questions on that, Ralph, after the first reading on resolution 000160? Ralph, I think that's on second reading.
That is on second reading, I believe,
Yes.
Madam President.
Okay, then
For
that would
listing
be
as
for
well.
listing, right. Okay, very good. Okay, so then let's move to, and Madam Clerk, we'll list that. Now we'll go to ordinance on first reading. You want to explain that ordinance for us, Mr. Sheila?
Yes, Madam President. This is a bond ordinance providing for the improvements at Essex County College in the amount of $2.5 million. The breakdown is as such. For waterproofing and the exterior masonry walls, $660,000. For classroom and lab renovations, $1,515,000. And for an electronic message and directional signage, $325.
Okay, Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions on this ordinance?
No, I don't.
Mr. Polyvecchio, any questions?
No.
Okay, freeholders, questions, comments on ordinance on first reading? Question, comments? And this is a bond ordinance. No questions, no comments. Freeholders, then we'll have the clerk to list it for introduction, and let's move to resolution number 1. Mr. Sheila.
Resolution number 1 is the Department of Administration and Finance, a resolution to award and execute contracts for 2014 financial advisory services at a cost not to exceed $80,000 per transaction. There were 5 responses to the RFP for 2014 to serve as the county's financial advisor. All 5 have been listed for use during the course of the year if in such time as this service is needed. The 5 firms are NW Financial, Phoenix Advisors, Acadia Financial, Public Resource Advisory Group, and AC Advisory Incorporated.
Okay, before we move for questions, Madam Clerk, Freeholder Owens is present. Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. This has been standard over quite a few years where we set a cap on the amount of money paid to these vendors with regard to the work that they perform.
Okay, Freeholders, questions, comments, and we are on Resolution 1. And this is a bond, Resolution 1 is from the Department of Administration and Finance. No questions, Freeholders? Okay, Madam Clerk, we are listed, and let's move to Resolution number 2, Mr. Shiala.
This is coming out of our Board of Taxation. We're requesting a contract extension with Vital Communications to provide for data processing services on tax records, reports, including the tax listing of printing. This is for a May 13th, 2014 through May 12th of 2016. Amount not to exceed $190,203.77. And this is being funded out of the Board of Taxation's trust account.
Okay, let's take 3, explain 3 for us, and then we'll take those 2 together later.
Resolution 3 is Department of Health and Rehabilitation, or Division of Community Health Services, a uniform shared services agreement with the Township of Nutley for the provisions of hazardous emergency response, July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014, amount not to exceed $150,000. Hazmat, Nutley has serviced the county for a number of years in this capacity, and they are on call 24 hours, 7 days a week for any hazmat responses, services within the county of Essex.
Okay, Freeholders, questions on 2, Resolution 2. Freeholder Clark.
Only one, Mr. Jallo. I can recall, I want to say it was maybe 2 years ago now, when the Nutley Hazmat group, they used to have these little kits, hazmat kits that they were able to make available to people. Do they still have them? And can either communities or even the freeholders, I don't know whether we as freeholders ever really got a kit to actually see what it was like, but I think it would be good for the freeholders to at least see what's involved in it, what's contained in it, and then if there are any communities that have any questions relative to that, or if it should come up when freeholders are out talking to constituents, they would really understand what they're talking about. So if they still have those kits available, if they could make about 10 of them available for the board, that would be great. Thank you, sir.
I will certainly look into that, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam President.
And Freeholder Clark was asking the question on Resolution 3. So if we, before I go, let me go back to 2 to make sure.
I'm sorry. I
That's
jumped
okay,
ahead of
Freeholder
myself.
Clark.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we have no additional questions on 2 or we didn't have any questions on 2 at all. So we'll now go to 3, and Freeholder Clark today ask the first question on Resolution 3. Freeholders, do you have any additional questions on Resolution 3? If no additional questions, then Madam Clerk, we'll list 2 and 3. And Resolution 4 has been withdrawn by the administration. Mr. Sheller, let's take 5, 6, and 7, and 8. Could you explain, with your explanations on those?
Resolution number 5 is the Department of Parks contract award to Andy Matt, the lowest responsible bidder, to provide for park landscape maintenance at Turtleback Zoo, a 24-month agreement, amount not to exceed $156,192. This is being funded out of the Open Space Trust Accounting funding.
Okay, let's go to 6.
Resolution number 6, Department of Parks contract award to Andy Matt, the lowest responsible bidder, to provide for park landscape maintenance at the paddle boat and picnic pavilion. A date of award through August 14th, 2015, $34,650. Again, funded out of the Open Space Trust funding. Resolution number 7, Department of Parks and Cultural Affairs, authorization to cancel 2008 balances from various projects appropriated through the Essex County Recreation and Open Space Trust Fund, totaling $170,418.20. These are balances for projects that have been completed. These are all County of Essex projects. These are not part of the municipal aid or the local community projects. These are all projects that have been completed in the County of Essex, and we are returning the not unused portions of the back into the trust fund. 8
Okay.
is Department of Parks requesting the authorization to utilize the Open Space Trust Fund to provide for funding for the South Mountain Recreation Complex landscaping projects at the Orange Reservoir, amount not to exceed $140,000.
Stop there. Let me do this. I think 5, 6, 7, and 8 is the Open Space Trust Fund, and 9. Are we going to take 9, that's Open Space Trust Fund also?
Yes, Madam President.
But 9 is the contract.
9 is the contract.
Okay, so let's separate it. Let me do the contract by itself,
Okay.
and we'll do the Open Space Trust Fund where the funds are coming from. Let me do that first. So let's take 5, 6, 7, and 8 together, because it's showing that we are requesting money from the Open Space Trust Fund. So freeholders, do we have any additional questions on 8? I think we asked for questions on 5, 6, 7. Freeholder Clark.
Madam President, I just kind of wanted to hold my question to almost sort of to the end, because it's an aggregate question relative to the Open Space Trust Fund. And I don't think it's exactly Mr. McInerney's question, but through you, Madam President, to Mr. Chilella, and even possibly, I don't know whether Vice President Siebel wants to weigh in, because whether it's something that you've discussed in your meetings, but in the aggregate, Mr. Chilella, how much do we have, are you asking the board to vote on in terms of an expenditure of Open Space Trust Fund dollars? Because all of these expenditures are for actual actual work up so far. It's for like landscaping services and the like. So it's actual physical work, correct?
Yes, it's all for improvements.
And the ones that we're going to come to another set that you're requesting funding for, that's more A&E, more design work, in other words. So what I'd like to see is a list, when you give us the amounts, how much is the administration asking the open space, from the Open Space Trust Fund, or taking from the Open Space Trust Fund for A&E, design work, and then how much is actually being taken out for actual work on the actual open space, i.e. landscaping and the like.
Madam President, I just made motion to Mr. Josh States in the audience to do a quick math for us, and then once he gets that calculation, we'll present it to the board. Hopefully this evening.
Okay, so Freeholder Clark, you're asking for the total cost of all dollars we are asking to spend out of the trust fund?
Yeah, because a
Oh,
lot of
on this agenda, just this agenda?
Pardon, I'm sorry?
Just, you asking for it for just this agenda, right?
Yes, just this agenda.
Not something we've done in the past?
No, not, well, you know what? To bring in the president's point, we could also add one more category, which would be just the aggregate for the year.
Okay. So I think then they would have to bring that back to us next week at the voting meeting.
I mean,
doubt if they
it's
would-
not like it has.
I don't know if they would be
I
able
need
to
it
get that
tomorrow
to
or
us.
anything.
Okay.
Right, before we, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so freeholders, we are taking question, comments on the four resolutions 5, 6, 7, and 8. Any additional questions? No additional questions, then Madam Clerk, let's list 5, 6, 7, and 8. And Mr. Scheller explained Resolution 9. This is the contract for Sugar Property Services for the Orange Reservoir that we just requested dollars from the trust account. Open
Yes, this
space.
is the Department of Public Works, contract award to Sugar Properties, the lowest responsible bidder, for landscape improvements at the Orange Reservoir in the amount of $197,950. The improvements are a landscape around the reservoir, some stone veneer work, sidewalks, stamped concrete sealant, irrigation system, and sidewalks. This funding will be $140,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund and the balance of $57,950 out of our Zoo Enhancement Fund.
Okay. Okay, freeholders, questions, comments? Do we have someone for Sugar here? No?
No, we do not,
Okay.
Madam President.
When I think we normally have them so they can kind of give us an idea of what they will be doing for the, and the amount of 197, exactly what the contract will,
We can request their attendance next week, Madam President.
okay, let me see if the freeholders feel that it's necessary. We all know the contractor, we've been before this board before. Is there a need to bring them before us again? I think just the information, making sure we clearly understand the landscape improvements that we will be expending on the 197. I guess it's in detail in the information, but sometimes the contractor can give you a better picture of what work they will be doing.
Oh, we'll invite Sugar next week, Madam President.
Okay, very good. All right, additional questions, comments, freeholders on 9? A comment from freeholder Polyvecchio.
Thank you, Madam President. Just Mr. Chilella mentioned that $97,950 was coming out of the Zoo Enhancement Fund. Just wanted to remind the board that that Zoo Enhancement Fund takes a dedicated amount from the admission price at the zoo, and it's set aside for these purposes. So it's a fund specifically dedicated for improvements at the zoo. So the money that goes into the zoo, or the money that's spent on admission at the zoo, comes back and is used to keep the zoo improved and maintained.
Very good.
Madam President,
Yes, freeholder Clark.
I have a question for Mr. McEnroe. Just a budget question. Is this, does this appear in the budget or is this outside of the budget?
Which one are you talking about?
All of this, in the aggregate?
Well, whatever comes out of the open space does not appear in the budget. Whatever
what I
comes
thought.
out
Okay.
of the dedicated fund that Mr. Parlavecchio said, which is $1 on every ticket, does not come out of the budget. It comes out of trust.
Right. Okay, for the record, Madam Clerk, Freeholder Luciana and Freeholder Gill is present.
But if I might add, Madam President, nonetheless, the fact that this does not come out of the budget does not negate the fact that these contracts have to come before the board for their approval.
Oh, no, no,
No, I know you know that. I'm just making a statement so everybody else knows it, that's all.
Very good. Okay, freeholders, no, do we have any additional questions on Resolution 9? If not, Madam Clerk, let's list Resolution 9 and go to Resolution 10, Mr. Chiara.
Resolution 10, Department of Public Parks, Recreation, Cultural Affairs, authorization to utilize the Open Space Trust Fund to provide funding for design services for Wassesing Park field improvements in the amount not to exceed $93,330.
Okay, continue.
Resolution 11 is the contract award to Remington and Vernick for those design services for Wassesing Park. They will include a total rehabilitation of an existing baseball field with synthetic turf, clay color infield, a warning track, county logos, subsurface drainage, and related upgrades. The total rehabilitation of an existing softball field with synthetic turf, clay color infield and outfield on the warning track, the Sonnen County logo, new black chain link fence along the backstops, as well as 4-foot high and 6-foot high chain link fence, possible player dugouts, new spectator bleachers and player benches, and landscape improvements, and installation of site furnishings, trash receptacles, and park benches. Resolution 12, authorization to utilize the Open Space Trust Fund for Wassesing Park Light Improvement Project in the amount of $318,500. Resolution 13 is the actual contract award to CETA Construction, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $636,141. This is funded out of open space, $318,500, and capital, $317,641.
Okay, freeholders, question, comments on Resolution 10?
Madam President?
Yes, Mr. McInerney?
Now, these design services don't appear to have anything to do with Resolution number 12, 13, Resolutions 12 and 13, which are Wassesing Park improvements, correct? These 11, 12, and 13, these design services?
Frank, the way they group 10 and 11 are one project, 12 and 13 are another project. The two separate projects.
Okay, 10, I'm looking at the minutes of the meeting here of the Open Space Trust Fund. 10 is the design services to do field improvements. And then 11 is consulting engineering services for those field improvements. So the question I always have when you come before the board and request money for design services is what, in this case, design and consulting, is what is the estimate of the ultimate cost of the project? And if you don't have that now, we had to get some estimates. The last time this happened, we had Comito here, when we had over $300,000 of design. He informed us that the overall construction cost for that project was like $8 million. So if we're going to do design cost, I think it's important we have some estimate of what the ultimate cost is going to be of the project for which we're approving the design for.
Ralph, you would need to get back to us on that question.
Yeah, Madam President.
Mr. McInerney?
The cost estimates that Frank's asking for, right now it's preliminary because we have still yet to schedule the community meetings with the residents. So to finalize the actual ball fields, the location of the ball fields, which side of the park and what system, which will determine the final cost. So once we have those community meetings and lay out the plans to the community and get their buy-in, then we'll have a firmer number on a cost estimate that we can come back to the board or with Ms. McInerney with.
But you're looking, Madam President?
Continue.
But you're looking for it to approve the design contracts at the next meeting, and all I'm saying, is it a $1 million project? Is it between 2 and 3? Is it between 5 and 6? Just give us some, we understand that
That we
this is,
can.
that's why we have the designers, so they can design the specifications, so we can go out to bid and get the actual cost, but just some understanding, some ballpark figure that gives us the magnitude of the,
Okay.
of the cost that will happen after design.
Will do.
Okay. Additional questions for y'all, freeholders, questions on 10, 11. So additional questions, we'll go to 12, 13.
Madam President, we do have the vendor for 13 from Cedar Construction.
Okay, you want to bring him up?
Is Tata Carretero from Cedar Construction.
Okay. Okay, you've done, this is your first time doing business with the county? You've done business with us before?
No, I've been working for the county for the last 15 years.
Various jobs?
Various jobs before.
Okay. You want to give us an idea what this contract consists of?
This contract will take about 2 months, plus or minus. And we expect to do it on time and on the budget. And most of us, 99% of our workers, they all SS County residents. And the majority of them, we are minorities. We are, Cedar Construction is in US at Port, with base in Wanakee, in New York. We don't have any problems before, we don't expect to have any problems.
When we say lighting improvements, what are we doing? We are replacing lights, we are
Put up
adding
brand
lights,
lights.
we're taking away, putting up different type of lightings?
Put out brand new lights. There's only few in that park.
Mhm.
They are falling down. We put out brand new lighting system right through the whole park.
So that's the existing lights, are we adding lights?
Okay, we're not adding, we actually putting out brand new lights because the ones they there, they are all wood posters, they get ready to fall, and I guess there's no lighting in the park.
Okay, Madam President, the actual number of light poles will be 76,
76?
and they'll be on the east side of Glenwood Avenue, and they'll also be installing some trash receptacles and benches.
Just,
Yes, Freeholder Clark?
Mr. Chilella, through Madam President, and through you, sir, good evening. Are any of the lights going to be on the East Orange side, or is this all going to be on the Bloomfield side?
You got to the path.
Pardon?
All to the path of the parks. All to the path of the parks.
Dennis, did you clarify that?
Dennis Sedale, Assistant County Engineer.
Could you put your name on the record?
He's doing that now.
Dennis Sedale, Assistant County Engineer. This current contract, the lights are in the Bloomfield section.
On the Bloomfield side, that's what I thought. So that means that the field, as it stands now on the East Orange side, is not going to have any lighting.
It's going to remain as it is now.
Could I just, this is just an observation. If we're going to put lighting in the park, and we're going to spend, what, $600,000 to do it, why would we not put it, it's not that big a section left. Why not do the park? I don't understand it, Madam President. And I really don't understand why we would sit here and vote to just do it on one section and not do it on the other section? It really doesn't make any sense.
Madam President?
Yes, Freeholder Johnson.
Yes, I really do agree with you wholeheartedly on that, Freeholder Clark, because of the fact that if we're going to spend close to $729,470 between the engineering and the replacement of these poles, why not the whole park? Because eventually we'll be coming back to do the other side.
Can the engineer tell us why we selected to do just one side of the park instead of the entire park, both sides?
I don't know if Mr. Sedalia is prepared for that, but we can definitely go back to our Tuesday project committee meeting why these poles were selected. And if you look in, I believe it's Brookdale Park, I believe the lighting plan that we've entertained actually consisted of 3 phases of doing the work. So it's not uncommon that we will present a project that is only partially addressed. Brookdale Park, I know, has 3 phases to do the lighting. Many of our other parks have multiple phases. It's not that they will not be done, it's just a question of what phase the work will be done. Why it's broken up as to 76 lights in Bloomfield versus East Orange, that's a discussion that I will take back, and we'll get a clear answer for you, as well as a timeline for the next phase for the rest of the park.
Mr. County,
Continue, Freeholder Johnson.
Ralph, is that the Tuesday morning meeting?
That's correct.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to be present for this Tuesday morning
Great.
in reference to this issue.
Freeholder Bobadilla, did I see your hand?
I think Ralph answered it.
Ralph answered your question. Additional questions, freeholders? So Ralph, that information should be
Will be provided
to be
before-
provided before next week.
That is correct, Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll list 10, 11, 12, and 13. And Ralph, let's go to 14. And 15.
Resolution 14.
Oh, I'm sorry, Freeholder Gill, you want to go back to what we just
If we could,
left?
just a quick question, yes.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Freeholder Gill,
Thank you, Madam President.
I didn't
It's-
see your hand, I apologize.
Thank you, no problem. It's just a quick question, and it's not, like, it's on the park itself, not specific to these resolutions, but on the project side in Watsonsing, there's also been some outreach on the local level also regarding the dog park in Watsonsing Park and improvements to the dog park. And so I'm not sure, I didn't see it in the minutes, and I don't know if it's something that's come up in the Open Space Trust Fund and during the committee meetings, but if I could just have some follow-up in the administration, just, an assessment, and while we're spending this money on the lighting, which I wholeheartedly support, if that piece of the park has also been just looked at as well.
That I'm not aware of. I'll have to take that back to
Okay.
Parks if they're aware of any requests for any improvements.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue, we'll go to, Madam Clerk, we are listing 10, 11, 12, 13, and Mr. Scheller, let's go to 14.
14, Madam President, again, Department of Parks, authorization to utilize the Open Space Trust Fund to provide for funding for Kips Castle Parks Master Plan, $356,755. Resolution 15 is the actual contract award to WASA LLP for architectural design services for the interior renovations at Kips Castle. The analysis, the floor plan the analysis of all treated surfaces and determine the original finishes and paint colors, the restoration of floors to the original finishes, restoration of all decorative surfaces to the original finishes, repairs and restoration of fireplaces, cleaning and repair of the original hardware and light fixtures, replacement of exterior hardware and light fixtures with period replicas, restoration of bathrooms and replicas of original fixtures, evaluation of existing elevator recommendation, restoration or replacement, evaluation of stained glass windows, evaluation of ceiling and all floors, and inclusion of any system upgrades, HVAC, and we do have representatives from WASA.
Okay, Freeholder, before we call them up, question, comments on Resolution 14? Excuse me. No questions, no comments?
Madam President, which resolution are you?
We on 14,
Okay,
Mr.
14.
McInerney. You want to have the architect, we have the architect present?
Yes, we do.
Do you want him to come up at this time, Mr. McInerney? You have
Well,
questions for the architect?
let me ask if I might, Madam President.
Okay, before
Again,
we bring the architect up. Continue.
Oh, I'm sorry, Madam President. Again, we're looking at design services with a very general, purpose here for the interior renovations of Kipps Castle. Again, the board needs to know, get some understanding of what the overall cost is expected to be. Same thing as before.
Absolutely. Okay, you want to bring the architect up so we could get an eye?
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to address you. I would be the partner in
Just
charge.
put your name on the record for me, please.
My name is Pamela Jerome from Wassa Studio A, LLP. We have offices in Caldwell, New Jersey, and we worked for you on the master plan of Kipps Castle in 2011. We produced the master plan. And now we're back to do the interior restoration and renovation work. We're providing both preservation, architecture, interiors, and MEP design in-house. We have sub-consultants who will be doing the vertical access, the stained glass, also the conservation of the finishes, and two of those sub-consultants are an WBE and an SBE, actually MBE. And we will also be providing a cost estimate from our study, which hopefully will help answer the question of how much does the project cost. It's pretty involved. We have 120 days to produce our documents, our design documents. But long before that, we should have some idea about the cost of the project.
So at this point, there really is no range of estimate that you could provide the board with regard to the items that you just listed?
We are not privy to an estimate that perhaps the parks came up with.
Right.
We can only evaluate and then come up with a cost estimate, since
So-
we haven't done the research.
Okay, and as far, you started talking about restoration, rehabilitation, are we talking about historic restoration?
In certain rooms that warrant that. I believe the ground floor for sure. The third floor has less important rooms, so it will be a range of full restoration to renovation.
Okay, and I'll ask the administration, has the administration any estimate of cost or, at this point in time, or is that something you're going to look into?
That's something I'll have to look in as well.
Okay. It sounds very involved. It really does, and it sounds very costly, too. So I think we really need to understand it before we move forward.
It's a complex project, but it's something that we're quite adept at handling, this type of project.
Yeah, by all means, I'm not saying your firm is not adept. I think the concern that we have on our side is the, not so much the design contract, but once we go into the design, what is the ultimate cost? But not only what is the ultimate cost, but where are the funds going to come from to pay for that cost? And is it going to be done in 1 year and 2 years? So there's a lot the board needs to know. You mentioned before subcontractors. Are these subcontractors off of your contract?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just, if I'm not mistaken, our contract that any vendor enters into, at least used to say that any subcontractors of any contractors still has to be approved by the Board of Freeholders. So, Mr. Parlavecchio, if you could look into that. I know the contract used to be specific to that.
I don't think they need to be, I'll look into it, but I don't think they need to be approved separately, but they need to be identified.
Okay.
All I can say is that the RFP also spoke about 180 days for construction.
Okay.
So that may give you an idea of the time frame.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
Madam President, thank you.
Thank you. Is the council, is it registered on the National Register? Historic Register?
Is it?
I'm sorry.
Would you have that the answer to that?
It's on the state register.
It's on the State Historic Register. So there's certain things we have to do.
We have to
You
abide
just can't
by
go in and put
SHPO.
any color paint, any type of stones or any type of,
Our
wood.
designs will have to be approved by the New Jersey State Historic Preservation Office. The work.
all of the work.
Designation depends whether the period of significance is only the exterior or whether they decide that the interior also has significance. Probably the first floor will be consulting with the State Historic Preservation Office to make sure that they know what we're doing and approve it.
Okay, thank you. Freeholder Gill?
Thank you, Madam President. So the evaluations that are listed in the minutes of the Open Space Trust Fund Committee, so those are going to be then recommendations that are going to come back for potentially additional work. So I just want to understand, so we're authorizing up an amount not to exceed $356,000 for the master plan.
Excuse me, we've already done the master plan. That
Right.
was completed in 2011.
Right.
So what we're doing now is actually doing the construction documents. But in order to do construction documents, we still have to do some paint finish analysis. We have to take a closer look at the stained glass windows. There are certain tasks that come along with the construction documents. And those tasks then tell us, for instance, what the original finishes were, what the look of the interior was, so that we can do a historically accurate restoration, at least of the significant spaces. And I think that the State Historic Preservation Offices, that's what they're going to care about.
Okay. So the money to cover that work, though, is included in this, potentially in this
The money to perform
$356,000?
the analysis for paint and for stained glass, yes, is included.
But there are other parts of this where it might not be.
Well, there's the construction. The actual construction is a separate contract that we would put out to bid on your behalf. But everything that's necessary to prepare the construction documents is included in that fee, as well as the cost estimate that we would prepare for you.
Yes, Mr. Parlavecchio?
Mr. Rome, just on your contract, I noticed in your, the documents you submitted in response to the RFP, you do identify, to piggyback on Mr. McInerney's questions, 3 sub-consultants.
That's right.
Are those the 3 that you will be using?
Yes, and there's actually one more, which is for reproduction, which we typically don't include in our response for an RFP, but...
Reproduction like copies?
Yeah, lots of them.
Okay, got it. Another question. I think, at least I have some confusion, Mr. Chilella. Number 14, Resolution 14 is to provide funding for the Kipps Castle Park Master Plan. And Ms. Jerome is saying that they've completed a master plan. Is this a new one, a revised one, or something completely different?
Perhaps it's a part of the master plan to be completed.
Yeah, and that's why I just want to direct it to the county administrator, direct the question.
That is correct. This is actually, as the woman had indicated, for the interior portion of the master plan, the actual construction documents for that phase of restoration.
The master plan that you affirmed completed in 2 years ago, what was that? What was the scope of that master plan?
That was everything. It
That was
included
the entire-
the grounds, it included also the carriage house, and it was basically an evaluation of everything on that property. And then also, it was about conducting stakeholder meetings and also finding out what people actually wanted to use Kipps Castle for. So we had Survey Monkey that a lot of people responded to, and we came up with various proposals for how Kipps Castle could be reused, in addition to a total existing conditions assessment of the entire property and the 2 buildings on the grounds.
So,
Yes.
I guess this was my question. This is what I was trying to get at earlier, and this is just where I'm not clear. This is authorization for money that's going to be just for a plan,
For a set of construction documents.
for a set of, right, but so
Yeah,
it's.
for one component of the
For
master
one
plan.
component of the master plan. But the master plan was, that we did the master plan 2
Well,
years ago.
And in addition to that, you've also completed the exterior portion of the master plan. In other words, the exterior of the buildings, the 2 buildings were repaired, I believe, a year or 2 ago.
Just through you, Madam President, can I request from the administration, through the administration, a total amount of what we have spent up at Kipps Castle?
Certainly.
And,
Just one more comment.
I believe the exterior restoration cost about $1.2 million.
Mr.
Just-
Polyvecchio,
yeah,
and then I
just-
come back to you, Freeholder.
Just
Thank you.
because I think what I'm getting caught up in, maybe Freeholder Gill as well, is maybe the terms used in the resolution. So the contract to Ms. Jerome's firm is for architectural design service. That's the contract for $356,755. And that's to provide the specs, construction
To
specs.
provide the service, yes.
Now, Resolution 14 is really just the authorization to use the money to obtain the money from the Open Space Trust Fund. But it's the funding to pay for the services
The
provided by...
design services, that is
Okay, so is it accurate to call the authorization from the trust fund to provide funding for the master plan, or would it be more accurate to say for interior or architectural design services?
I think
That's where I think I'm getting tripped up.
I think the architectural design services is the much more appropriate
Okay.
description.
Because it sounds like a comprehensive master plan is already
It's been
in the
done.
can.
It's been done.
Okay. So maybe it's
That's where
it's more form over function of what we're getting confused about.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
I'm in the same stream of thought as my colleagues here. But my question is, has the master plan been revised at any point from the initial stage up till now? Because it seems like there's different components of this. I mean, we should have
The
had-
master plan was always considered in a phased, prioritized fashion. We never expected Essex County to do the entire restoration of the castle in one fell swoop.
Granted, now if you take the aggregate of those phases, we do have a cost, right?
Yes, and like I said, I believe the exterior of the castle was done and the carriage house for about $1.2 million, the restoration.
But that doesn't tell me about the aggregate. I think I'm with my colleagues here that there's some vital information as far as cost goes that's kind of missing. We just kind of don't know. And I think we just need clarity on that.
Well, I think, through you, Madam President, I think Freeholder Gill had requested basically an accounting
Yeah.
of the Kips Castle project, and we will provide that for the board.
But you know what, I think what we're trying to get a handle on is, we're done with the design. I mean, we've done that, the master plan, with the master plan. We're done, that's it. We know what we need to do because that's what we should do based on the master plan, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so now we are looking at the architectural design service to fulfill the master plan
That's
within the
right.
master plan.
That's right. The first priority was doing the exterior because the building has suffered from leaks, both buildings actually. So the first priority was accomplished. Now is the second priority to make it usable on the interior.
Okay,
Madam President, if it may help, in reading over the minutes that Mr. Polavecchio had indicated, to make it more clear, I know in the minutes it says that there's a heading that calls for the amount of funding for Kips Castle interior master plan, and then right underneath that, there's a statement that Mr. Salvanti discussed the need for A&E funds for the creation of the Kips Castle interior master plan. I think we can go back to the board and have them clean up the language that basically the intent was the interior construction documents for this. So I understand Mr. Polavecchio's, we could take this back to council and need be, we could have the minutes revised and with the Open Space Trust Fund.
Right, I think we all understand what's being done. It's just the title of the resolution, which has no impact on
Precisely.
the work that really is being done.
Madam President,
yes, Freeholder Luciano?
through you, I just wanted to add a little bit to this. Kips Castle actually happens to land in my district in Verona, Cedar Grove there. And I happened to be there on Tuesday. So I walked through the facility and I saw some of the external stuff that was done, and I think it's beautiful. You know, my questions and my however kind of lie in the fact that you said you did a survey. I think that the freeholders, through you, Mr. Cielo, if we could just sort of clarify through the survey, you know, what Kips Castle specifically is going to be used for. I mean, generally speaking, this is a lot of money to invest into one entity. And I went there on Tuesday, and there wasn't anybody there. So, you know, what are we going to do when this money is pumped into Kips Castle to really, I mean, either promote county residents and folks to be there or generate revenue to rent it out? I think that the Freeholder Board would feel a lot more comfortable when we see large sums of money to vote for things when we can go on public record, on television, and in front of the audience and feel confident that we're going to be able to use this as an asset, especially with this large sum of money. So through you, Madam President, and being the district freeholder and supporting Kips Castle, because I do understand its historical value, I myself, as the district freeholder, would feel a lot more comfortable if I could see that, Mr. Chila, and if I could just request that you provide that to the rest of the board members.
We will do that, Madam.
Freeholder Clark?
Through you, Madam President, and Mr. Chaw, what are we using Kips Castle for right now?
Through you, Madam President, there's events ranging from weddings to parties. We could also, I know from time to time, the board has requested, and we will provide you with a list of rentals and activities.
Okay,
that
so
have taken
it's
place.
being used currently.
In fact, I think Mr.
I see
Durkin-
Danny making his way to the microphone, so to give you some reinforcement.
If the board remembers during our budget hearing, the county clerk had to leave the budget hearing rather abruptly because he had to attend a wedding at Kips Castle.
Kips Castle, right? Okay. So that's I guess that's what it's. a portion of it, though, is being used for those kinds of things. And then there's another portion of it that has another useful life, if I'm not mistaken, correct? And then, of course, you have the exterior grounds that have yet another useful life because there have been things that have been done there. So it has, there are a myriad of things that could be done because of not only the physical structure, but the acreage or the land that it sits on and surrounding it. Now, if I understood you correctly, you said something relative to the interior.
That's correct.
Meaning that there's a master plan that's been done, that's being followed as we speak. But evidently, there's a portion that was not addressed in the master plan as it was always addressed and it was always contemplated.
It was always contemplated. And the interior is quite magnificent, but it is also in a little bit of a shabby condition because it hasn't, had occupants living in it, and I mean truly living in it. I think the last people before the parks took it over were lawyers, law offices maybe. Is that correct? And so it needs some TLC. It needs to be cared for a little.
But this is where everything kind of gets intricate, because you indicated that there are some intricacies now that we're at this portion of it, the TLC portion.
That's right.
Now this is when it gets intricate.
Well, there's layers of TLC, levels of it.
Right, and I think
most important spaces are on the ground floor.
Okay.
Those are the historically significant spaces.
And I'm just trying to I just try to synthesize it all and get right to the point. Aside from the dollars, we know that it's currently being used, absent the TLC. We know that it has more than one use.
That's right.
And that it's actually functional right now. So whatever intricacies, we're going to see what those intricacies then will shake out into in terms of dollars and cents. And that's where your company comes in, because you're doing design work and historic restoration at the same time.
That's right. And like
historic restoration, as we know, some members of this board with that historic courthouse can be dicey.
It can be a
yes.
can of worms.
And this is what I said 12 years ago, and I may not be here when it's completed. But here's what I said. Whatever prices people give for their work, anticipate everything you need to anticipate, and don't come back to the board with a bunch of change orders, because that can happen with historic restoration work, because you get into something, you say, oh, we didn't know that was under there, or we didn't know that was there, and so now we gotta turn left to get to right.
Our original master plan was quite extensive, and I believe that we know the contingencies in this case.
Good.
So I think you can feel a little more comfortable, because it's already been, our work has already come quite some distance, because we did the initial study, the master plan. So we have some idea what we're going to do.
I have no reason to doubt you.
Okay, additional questions, freeholders? Okay, thank you so much for the information that you presented to the board this evening. Yes, freeholder Bobadilla?
Just one final, knowing this administration, I mean, you guys are big on revenue, and I think that we all take that into account. But Ralph, is there projected cost-benefit analysis done on this asset that we can look at to see how much money we are eventually going to put in, and what the projected return of that investment will be?
That's a very good question. I know that was raised a few years back by this board. And I think when we brought it back for discussion, it's kind of a hard answer because you really can't put a value on any of our park facilities, buildings. If you were to look at a building in Weequahic Park, because we make improvements on that building, we're not looking to see what kind of profit or return we're going to get on the improvements of that facility. Those capital improvements are part of our county's asset. So it's a little difficult as opposed to if you were to construct the zip line. Zip line clearly has one intention in terms of providing recreation. There's a cost-benefit analysis that's done in terms of operation cost, revenue that you can derive, and it's a recreational activity provided for county residents and residents on the whole. So the particular question is a very good question. How it's really answered is not really fair to say that if you invest $1 million, we see that through weddings and parties over the next 5 years, we'll have a return on investment of 8%. It's not as simple as that kind of analysis. I know the question was raised many years ago, and I believe the response was pretty much what I just laid out, but I will ask Mr. Salvanti that I think the board is interested in those activities that have been sponsored up there. There's also benefits, there's movie nights up there, there's free activities up there that that you won't see a return on investment. But it's just like if you went to Brookdale Park for a concert, you know, it's a activity that is being provided for our residents for enjoyment. So I hope that answers part of it for you.
Freeholder Gill?
Thank you, Madam President. And I just concur with my colleague, and I appreciate that answer, and I believe that the administration has absolutely earned the board's trust in terms of how it handles projects and what the goal of those projects are. You know, I just do think it's important to put on the record that I do have, you know, just some concerns about overall cost here. You know, this is a project that could keep going and keep going. You know, we're still in design phase. We're not even talking about potentially what's going to come out of now this, you know, not to get semantics, another master, essentially an interior master plan, which is going to make recommendations on additional work, which is going to be coming back to this board to authorize more money, potentially. So, you know, I think it's important, you know, for the board, at least for me, to just understand, again, kind of top to bottom, you know, not only what we have spent in the accounting, but also what the administration's long-term goal is with the project, and taking into account that, you know, I know it's hard to give specific answers about what we project on revenue and things of that nature, but, you know, I definitely feel that, you know, we need a little more thorough long-term explanation about where this project is going to, where we envision this project ending up. It's a substantial amount of money, not only on its own, but also in relationship to all of the projects that also exist, you know, out there in the other parks. So, thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder Clark?
Madam President, I know this is going to sound funny coming from me, but so we can move this meeting.
Oh, wow.
So Ralph was falling out the chair, McInerney fell back. So that we can move this meeting along, perhaps we could have a work session, something that you guys are really good at pulling together. A work session before next week to give, so that people can really vet, to give everybody a really good understanding and just a little infomercial sheet about the salient points from the master plan that are going to be addressed with this particular thing. And then, you know how you guys do the renderings and the boards and everything. I think that will probably go a really long way to getting everybody's questions answered, and then also gives you more time to ask questions. Thank you, Madam President. Just a suggestion.
Thank you. We'll consider your suggestion. I'll speak with the administration because it's probably take a little more than a week for us to pull that workshop together to get the information that you're requesting, that the board would need in order to move this project forward. I'll speak with the administration to see if this is something that we have to do within the next couple of weeks. Can we put it off until the board receive additional information? So, Mr. Shell, I'll speak with you on this, and we'll make a decision if we want to put it back on next week for action, or should we hold it and give you time to we can pull together a workshop. Okay, Madam Clerk, let's thank you, Freeholder Clark, for helping us to move the meeting on. We were just 14 and 15, Madam Clerk. And let's go to Resolution 16, 17, and 18 and 19.
16, Madam President, is the authorization to utilize the Open Space Trust Fund to provide funding for the Brookdale Park Phase 3 lighting in the amount of $166,595. Resolution 17 is the contract award to Zenith Construction, the lowest responsible bidder, for the Brookdale Park lighting improvements Phase 3, 60 days, not to exceed $333,190. This is for the installation of new light poles and fixtures, 23 along the northern half of the inner circle connecting the two parking lots, installation of furnishing trash receptacles, and park benches. Resolution number 18 is Department of Parks, authorization to utilize the Open Space Trust Fund to provide funding for the Branchwood Park Lenape Trail improvements in the amount not to exceed $96,000. Resolution 19 is the county budget insertion of items of revenue from the Branchwood Park Alliance for the Lenape Trail, a 2-mile walking path from the Branchwood Park Alliance in the amount of $568,000. This is a grant from the Alliance to the county. And finally, number 20 is the actual contract award to Bismarck Construction, the lowest responsible bidder, to construct the Lenape trails, 60 days from date of award. And this is to reconstruct the historic path. It's a 2-mile loop at the northern division of the park. It'll be a rubberized surface will be utilized, as well as 3 exercise stations along the path. And signage will also be provided. And the vendor is present with us this evening, Madam President.
Okay, let's go first with questions and comments on Resolution 16.
And the vendor from 16, Zenith, is also present, Madam President.
Okay. Want to bring him up then? So
Sure.
we can
Zenith,
see.
come up. Knick-knack.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Nick Naik, and I represent Zenith Construction Services for resolution number 17.
Okay. You want to tell us a little about your company?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Will you give us a little information on your company?
Well, we have been working for the county. We're based in Essex County, Orange, New Jersey. We have been working for the county for the last 11 to 13 years. We have done multiple projects on multiple parks. Similar nature, playground, parks, tennis courts, you name it, we did it.
Okay. You want to tell us then a little about what you plan to do in Phase 3? What type of lighting?
Well, basically, we are installing, kind of replacing 24 light poles, the old wooden light poles by PSC&G. We're going to install the new foundation, new conduits, so PSC&G can come and install the new decorative metal light poles. So in essence, we are installing the light poles, benches, and some receptacles throughout the park.
Okay. Freeholders, questions while we have the contractor at the podium?
Madam President.
Yeah, Freeholder Johnson.
Excuse me. Through you, Madam President. Did I hear you say that you will be doing the foundation for it and the stuff around it? You're not going to be actually installing the poles?
The
Is that a
lights
part of
pole,
it?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is the poles a part of it also?
Well, the poles are getting installed by PSE&G. I think the way it works, I think Ralph can explain better.
Through Madam President, as in all public services, light fixtures, the contractor runs all the conduit and all that's required for the lighting. It's public services responsibility, their crews, to actually lift and put the fixtures and connect. That's public services role in all lighting projects.
Okay, additional questions, freeholders? So, Ralph, this would be the lighting improvements, are we installing benches, is all of it? Are we including that in this contract?
Yes, this contract also includes some trash receptacles and some park benches.
Okay. Additional questions, freeholders? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Freeholders, question, comment, additional questions or comments on 16 or 17? Mr. McInerney, any questions, comments?
Not on 15 or 17.
Okay, let's go to 18 and 19.
On 19.
Questions? No questions on 18?
Well, if...
19?
I'm sorry,
Yes, Freeholder
just-
Bobadilla, are we...
I just have a
questions
comment on 18.
On 18?
You know, I just really want to thank the administration, along with the work they have done in conjunction with the Branchbrook Park Alliance for bringing the trail into Branchbrook Park. I can tell you that we are excited, and we're very looking forward to having that completed. Thank you.
No additional questions or comments on 18. Let's go to 19. And I know we've had Bismarck before us before. Freeholders, do you need to have the contractor to come before you? Questions? Do you have any questions? In reference to Resolution 20?
I have a question on Resolution 20.
Freeholder, I'm sorry, Mr. McInerney?
It has nothing to do with the contractor. I just was, on this, there's $700,000 of this contract is being funded out of our general capital fund. I just want to, this is monies that we've already done, Ralph, in our capital budget part of multi-parks. These funds are already...
Yes, through you, Madam President, as part of our capital plan that we presented to the board, this is part of that plan that has been identified as part of the improvements under the open space, out of the capital fund. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
Now, Resolution 20 is the contract for Bismarck. Question, comments, freeholders? No questions, no comments. Madam Clerk, let's list 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, Ralph, let's go to 21, 22, and 23.
21 is the Department of Public Works contract award with Unity Construction Services, the lowest responsible bidder for the Verona Park Boathouse main room renovation, 60-day contract, amount not to exceed $433,310. The scope of work includes installation of new doors out to the deck on the lakeside, installing new doors on the park side, a new patio and seating area, new windows, flooring, new walls, painting, HVAC system, new electrical and fixtures, furniture, fireplace, and slate roof repairs, as well as landscaping, and Unity Construction, the vendor is president. Resolution 22, Department of Public Works, contract award to Daskel, the lowest responsible bidder, for the rehabilitation of the senior citizens building and other improvements in Belleville Park. 120-day contract, amount not to exceed $355,472.50. This is coming out of our capital funds. The work will include a new roof and gutters, stone veneer on the outside of the building, power wash and painting, removal of the interior walls and sheetrock in the interior, new electrical fixtures, a new kitchenette area, a new doors and windows, new floors and ceilings, a new patio, benches, trash receptacles, and landscaping, and barrier-free ramp and handrails for the building. Resolution 23, Department of Public Works, contract award to Covanta for recovery, the lowest responsible bidder, to provide for waste of tire removal services, 2-year agreement not to exceed $100,000. This is an open-ended, as-needed contract.
Thank you. Freeholders, question, comments on Resolution 21? No questions, no comments? 22? No questions, no comments? The contract, do we have the contractor here for 20?
Good evening.
Good evening. Would you place your name on the record for us, please?
Sure. My name is Walter F. Younghands. I'm the Vice President of Construction for Unity.
You want to tell us a little about your company?
Sure. I've been with Unity from its inception, 2002. We're a mid-range commercial contractor that specializes mostly in office fit-outs and anything that we self-perform the carpentry, so anything that's carpentry-driven is something we go after, and the Verona Borough House fits that bill.
So basically, most of the renovations in the carpentry area?
Yeah. Well, we're general contractors, so
General
we
contractor.
subcontract to all the other trades, but we self-perform the carpentry.
So what do we plan to do with the boathouse? Just give us an idea.
The boathouse, we're taking out 4 different windows and putting doors in. We're taking out 2 sets of doors and putting new doors in there as well. We're widening each of those openings to as wide as the openings will allow. We're turning the fireplace into a gas fireplace. We are putting new floors down. We're painting. We're putting new wainscoting 5 foot up all the way around. There's a patio, a concrete patio with ceramic tile being put on the park side. New HVAC system.
22.
I think that's the general scope.
Okay, that's the scope of this job. Okay, freeholders, additional questions? And we said this is a 60-day contract. You'll be able to go in. When you plan, if we approve the contract tonight?
We're all set.
I'm sorry, next week, because this is just a conference meeting. If we approve the contract next week?
We've geared up and done everything that you can do up to this point until we're awarded it officially, but we have submittals ready to go in. We've talked to all the contractors that we would be awarding the job to, so we're ready.
So by the summer, definitely
I
it'll
would
be
assume
done.
that you'd want to get it as soon as possible. Yeah, I've been out there several times. Beautiful park, what I
It
could
is.
see. That wasn't snow covered, but very beautiful, and we're pretty excited about doing something at the boathouse.
Very good. Freeholders, additional questions or comments? Okay, we want to thank you for the additional information presented to the board
Thank
this
you very
evening.
much.
Thank you. Okay, Ralph, let's go to
Another
next
22, Tasco.
Mhm.
Good evening, everybody.
Again,
name
your
is-
name for the record, please.
My name is Damian Daskalowski. I'm the general manager of Dascal. For this project, we are currently getting approved as a women-owned business entity. The business is owned by my wife. We've been in business for 3.5 years. Prior to that, I worked for large general contractors that we did a lot of work for Essex County, Hudson County, around this area. We're located in Wallington, New Jersey, right across the street from the park, right across the river from the park, literally. And so far, we have done all of the submittals. We have actually even applied for a permit for the job. And once everything gets approved by the board, we're ready to go.
Okay, and this is the first time you've had a contract with the county?
With Dascal LLC, yes, ma'am.
And you said that you've been in business how many years?
3.5 years.
3.5 years?
Yes.
Do we have any other questions for the contractor? Do you want to tell us a little then about what you plan to do with the building?
Sure. We'll self-perform the interior work, the tile flooring, the sheetrocking, framing, insulation, and the drop ceiling, as well as the kitchen installation, who will be supplied from the vendor specified in the specifications. We have struck contracts with roofing contractor and electrical contractor. They're both small business entities registered with the state of New Jersey. Then for the exterior work, we're still looking for pricing, and once we get all of that done, everything will be submitted to the engineer along with the insurances and all the paperwork required to start the job.
Additional questions, freeholders, comments? Okay, thank you for appearing before the board this evening and for the additional information that you provided to us. Thank you. So Ralph, the next contract is with Cavante?
Number 23, Madam President?
Yes, please.
I don't believe the vendor's here. That's just for tire
Yeah, that's
removal.
only for, and it was only 100,000. That was just barely meeting it. So, is this the first time we've had Cavante to give service
I believe they are a new vendor.
A new vendor?
For this service, yes, Madam
for
President.
this service? And we've had waste tire removal services before
Yeah, in
that?
the past, that's correct.
So who had it last year?
That I will find out who the previous vendor was.
Okay. Freeholders addition, question, comments on Resolution 23?
Through you, Madam President.
Yes, Freeholder Luciana.
So, through you to Mr. Chila, 2-year contract, about 100,000. So that gives them, and again, it's not to exceed 100,000.
That's correct.
Do you have any numbers for how much it cost us last year or the year before?
I will provide that to the board for next meeting. I will tell you that the price per ton for tipping is $90, and the truck cost per pull, once it's loaded up, is $184.
Right, I see that. So that would bring me actually then to my next question. These tires are just tires used on county vehicles, or are these tires that we take in?
These are tires that are removed from county roadways. Unfortunately, we do have people that do litter or in our parks, and we do have to dispose of these items. And unfortunately, if it's on a county roadway or county park, we have to dispose of them.
Thanks for putting that on the record. I just wanted to get that out
Okay.
there. Thank you.
Very good. Additional comments, freeholders, questions on Resolution 23? Okay, Madam Clerk, let's list 21, 22, and 23, and Ralph, let's take 24, 25, and 26.
Department of Citizen Services, Division of Community Action, contract award to Metro Flags to furnish and deliver veterans flags. This is a 2-year extension option, amount not to exceed $35,241.79. Again, this is an open-ended, as-needed contract. This is a 1% increase based on the New Jersey index rate, and these are for American flags to mark the graves of our deceased veterans. Resolution 25, the Department of Citizen Services, Division of Youth Services, approval of a state community partnership program sub-grant to provide services for at-risk and court-involved juveniles for 2014, amount not to exceed $622,745. The agencies that are identified in your packet will provide for disposition options, delinquency prevention, detention alternatives, aftercare activities, diversion, as well as other specialized services for Essex County juveniles. The approval of these recommendations will allow the family court judges to continue to have access to viable programs offerings so that the cases can be disposed of in a timely fashion. Resolution 26, again, the Division of Youth Services, approval of the State Community Partnership Subgrant Program. This is for a 3-month period. These are for agencies that will only be providing their services for a 3-month extension. The Resolution 25 is actually for a full year contract.
Okay, very good. Let's take 24 freeholders. Question, comments?
Madam President.
Yes, freeholder.
24.
Owens? Continue.
I'd like to ask, are these flags made in America?
Metro flag, I will find out.
And I'd also like to know if they're union made.
I will find that out.
Because there's a lot of flags, a lot of American flags that are made in foreign countries, unfortunately.
Let's go to 25. 25 freeholders. This is with youth services.
Yes, Madam President.
Okay. Could we ask Mr. Fisher to please
Sir.
come?
Madam Chair, Lee Fisher, Director, Essex County Youth Services Commission.
Okay, Mr. Fisher, I know you normally come to us every year with a similar contract, but you want to just give us some idea again, just give us a little more information on the type of program that we're talking about and how we go about subcontracting these services out to different partnerships in the community.
Yes, Madam President, what we do is we prepare a triennial plan using data that we derive from various sources, primarily provided by the Juvenile Justice Commission. We receive an annual allocation of state community partnership grant funding. We're one of 21 counties that provide services for court involved in at-risk youth. And what we do is use that data as a triennial plan to see what priorities we would like to fund and recommend to the freeholders. Each year we update that plan using the most recent data, doing a plan update to see where our needs are and whether they've changed. This is the 3rd year of a plan update in which we had an RFP issued 2 years ago, and we had two one-year renewal after the first year. This is the 3rd year that we're recommending renewal of the contracts that we funded beginning at the beginning of the triennial plan. What we've done over the course of those 3 years, or this is the 3rd year, is there certain services that we deleted because our population needs changed. Currently, what we've recommended to you, primarily delinquency prevention programs, some diversion programs, detention alternatives, which is the bulk of our programs. And we recently, or currently in this package, you see a 3-month renewal for a disposition option program as well as a reentry program. Our needs have shifted. We've sent less kids away to institutions, so we have less need for certain services, but we also identify other resources that are available in the community that are paid for by other entities. So we're able to supplement the services and programs that we offer to our provider agencies. And currently, as I noted, we're recommending for the balance of this year, or for this year for programs, this year we'll be doing a new triennial plan based on the data we extract and review. The Youth Service Commission, which is composed of family court judges, community-based organizations, prosecutors, public defenders, and other key partners, will be coming up with a triennial plan, doing an RFP for this year for 2015.
Okay, before we, let me just ask Ralph, this is for just 3 months?
You have 2 different packages, one that recommends for 12 months, a 12-month renewal, and you have another one that has 2 programs that we're only recommending for 3 months. We have a few clients in some of those programs we'd like to complete their service menu the reentry program, one of which is Family Connections. In the past, we had somewhere like, if I look at the stats, just to give you a brief on that, over the period from 2005, we had about 214 juveniles that actually were sent away to state placement, both in terms of commitments as well as residential placement for the Juvenile Justice Commission. In 2012, we were down to 43. So that greatly reduced the number of kids who were sent away and are returning. Also, the Juvenile Justice Commission itself utilizes its own funds and contracts for programs and services. The reentry program we have is the substance abuse mental health program, and that's the one we're asking for a 3-month extension on, just to close out the kids that are in there. Juvenile Justice Commission also, on its own, contracted with the Integrity House to provide a program for 30 juveniles, so therefore we don't need to do this, to contract the same program or services that were previously provided during 2013.
Okay, Freeholder Clark.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Mr. Fisher.
Good evening.
Just a couple questions. I'm looking at the matrix. For the couple of locations that are not in Essex County, approximately, and I was looking at the slot levels, approximately how many of our kids are in those are in those areas?
When you say the ones that are not in Essex County?
Right.
Programs?
Right.
We really don't service any kids outside of Essex County.
Because they're on the matrix. So in other words, they're on the matrix as actually places that we could place our kids.
Yes.
Are any of them there? Have any of them been placed in any of these programs that are not in Essex County?
The only vendors we actually have outside Essex County is BI currently, which is not even on this. It's an electronic monitoring provider agency. Everything else is all within Essex County.
Okay, then at some point in time, just take a peek at what we see, which is we see about 9 different proposed sub-grant agreements that this $622,000 is going to, and a couple of them are not in Essex County, and that's why I asked the question. One is in Englewood, another is in Roselle Park.
My apologies. You're absolutely correct. They're not based in Essex County, but they do a lot of work in Essex County, Arts Horizons.
Right, and so I'm asking, they have slot levels of 50 and 400 respectively. Are our kids actually in those programs, in those locations?
Yes, they provide services within the school system.
Pardon?
Within the various school system, in Newark, in Orange, the various schools that they actually provide the services for a.
So in other words, the actual agency may be located someplace else, but they're providing the services in Essex County.
Yes.
So the kids aren't leaving the county to get the service?
No, they aren't.
Okay. Are they providing up to those levels?
Yes, that's a delinquency prevention program.
Okay.
I mean, the program actually operates year-round. If you may note in some instances that it may be an assembly-type program.
Okay.
And one of the things, I think one of the programs, one agency, without mentioning the name, does a safe dates program. That's also within a school system. So you're able to service more kids in a delinquency prevention mode. These are not what you call a serious issue in terms of the children themselves. Is basically a prevention piece, something that really doesn't require a lot of intense service.
Gotcha. I'm good on that. And then the other one is, the other 2 questions are, the lion's share of this grant is really going to Aspira and Family Connections. And that's for, one of them is actually for treatment.
Yes.
The other one says alternative services. And it's only really servicing 100 students as opposed to somebody else that was servicing 400, but a significant amount of money.
Yes.
So what are they doing for that?
That
other people aren't?
That's a detention alternative program. When juveniles are arrested or complaint is filed against them, as an alternative to being detained in the detention center and costing the county its own money, to maintain housing and to feed them and to transport them back and forth. The court has found that they are appropriate for release, but under supervision.
Okay.
Aspera is an
You know what I can do?
Yes.
So that I'm not going to be guilty of holding up the meeting. You can. I don't mean to be rude, but what you can do, because we know one another very, very well, and I trust you putting it down on a piece of paper and sharing it with our administrator. The two programs that received the lion's share of these grants, $255,000. That one program, actually. I just need to understand what that program does, that the other programs that are listed similarly, detention alternative services, what do they provide different that the other programs don't? Because their slice of the pie is so much larger than everybody else.
Yes.
That's all I need to understand, and I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Carol, we're going to have a sidebar after this.
I'll just say this, and then everybody in here will understand. It's March.
Okay. All right. You'll be able to answer that at this time?
I can, and I will provide, through you, Madam Chair, a program profile which shows you exactly what we're doing, what the target population is, and what the outcomes we expect from that program.
Okay, that would be great. That would be helpful. So Ralph, make sure
Certainly.
Mr.
Before
Fisher
next
provide that. You'll provide it to the freeholders. Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
For the
And
information
thank you, Mr. Clark.
that you provided the board this evening. Let's go, Ralph. Madam Clerk, that's list 24, 25, 26. And Mr. Polybecker, you want to explain resolution 27?
Sure.
And this resolution is on for action.
It is on for action. It is a resolution from the board nominating Deborah Davis Ford to the position of Clerk of the Board of Chosen Freeholders for a term of 2 years. The statute, both the state statute and the county code, permits this board to appoint a clerk for a period of years, and this resolution is for a 2-year term.
Very good. Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to? Okay, moved by freeholder. I have two movers, very good. I moved by freeholder Vice President. Can I take freeholder Owens? I would like to have freeholder Owens to move the resolution. Do you mind? Okay. And freeholder Beasley, you want a second?
Yes.
Okay. So that's okay, freeholder.
Thank you.
I want you to yield to freeholder Owens.
No problem.
Okay, very good. The motion by freeholder Owens, second by freeholder Beasley. Question, comments, freeholders?
This is on resolution.
27.
Just a question.
Yes, freeholder Clark.
I mean, not a question, a comment. Well deserved.
Very good.
And looking forward to many more.
Bilal, second. Okay, freeholder. Any additional comments, questions, comments?
Want to say something?
I just wanted to add my comments, like yourself and, well, more me and Cal, for the 12 years that we've been here.
Yes.
And the efficiency of the staff and the leadership that's there. I believe it's well deserved for what I personally have experienced in terms of how the office functions.
Right.
And I give Ms. Ford a lot of credit along with Debbie, but it's a wonderful staff and all the things that we do throughout the year. I'm just glad to know that she'll be here. Thank you.
Very good. Freeholder Vice President Sebo, and I come back to you, freeholder Owens.
I was anxious to nominate.
I know.
Because Deborah Davis Ford does a fantastic job as the clerk to the Freeholder Board. So I was very happy to do that, although I'm pleased that Freeholder Owens has the nomination. That's quite all right. But but still, Deborah Davis Ford does a fabulous job as the clerk to the Freeholder Board, and we are very lucky that we have her doing such a fantastic job.
Very good. Freeholder Owens?
Viola Sebo said everything I wanted to say, but I do say that she does a beautiful job. It's very much a pleasure working with her, and again, we look forward to it.
Very good. Okay, Freeholder Bobadilla?
I just want to say thank you for all the work that you do for us, and you have an amazing staff, and, you know, it comes with good leadership, so thank you.
Very good. Any Freeholder Luciana?
I too want to thank Deborah for everything she does. Even with tonight, I at 5:45 had a commendation resolution that she was able to handle for me, and last minute yesterday, I was able to call her directly on her cell phone to take care of some stuff. So I do appreciate that you're there for us, and look forward to working with you, Deborah.
Very good. So, Freeholder Johnson?
Yes, yes. I would like to also chime in with the rest to say that a good staff is only as good as its leader, and you've been doing a pretty good job. All our events have been very nice, and you always add that little womanly touch. Although, you know, sometimes it looks a little too girlish, but it looks good, and you make us look good, and I want to thank you.
Okay, very good. Freeholder Gill?
Thank you, Madam President. I concur. Thank you, Deborah, for your leadership of the office and for everything that you do. And even when you say it's like herding cats with us sometimes, we know you mean that with the utmost affection. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do for the board. Thank you. Good luck.
I am extremely pleased that we were able to put this on the agenda. Early on, I realized that we needed to, following the county code, we needed to make these appointments and do it the correct way. And I am fortunate to finish out my term at the end of the year, to have Deborah as the clerk and the staff working with Deborah, that I enjoy each and every day. So I'm honored that the board will make this appointment. Hopefully, will be voting on the 2-year appointment for Ms. Ford. And I certainly do appreciate all the work, Deborah, that you and the staff do each and every day. Thank you. Okay, I have a mover and a second. You're going to have to call the roll for your own appointment.
I don't think I mind.
Roll call.
Freeholder Beasley?
Yes.
Freeholder Bobadilla?
Yes.
Freeholder Clark?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Owens?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Sebo?
Yes.
Freeholder President Watson?
Yes, yes.
So moved.
Yes.
Okay. Very good, Ralph.
Madam
Okay,
President,
yes,
you
Freeholder
didn't
Johnson.
ask Ralph and McInerney if they wanted
McInerney?
to add in, and Mike.
I'm sure they're ready to vote. They just don't want to break the law and vote on this.
Be inappropriate for me to
Very
comment.
inappropriate.
Maybe comments.
Very good. No, they can't comment on this. Okay. We have to keep it just with the board.
Okay.
But thank you anyway. I hear you, but I'm sure they're going to go behind closed doors and congratulate them. Thank you for the work she's doing. Okay, let's go with list resolution 28 through 32. All commendations. Madam Clerk, and we have resolution 33. Freeholder Johnson, you want to explain resolution 33?
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I've had the pleasure of meeting with one of the local unions that through Verizon that are in support of Linda R. Greenstein's resolution S-278, which is a one-year moratorium on replacement of the copper-based landline telephone services with non-copper. They want to replace it with non-copper based DL and lines or wireless telephone service. And they kind of took me through a little session in reference to how it can benefit us and how it can hurt us. Is more harm done without them doing some more studies, especially when you talked about the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, doing some more study on the effects of it, because from what I've gathered, I heard that it does not support our 911 emergency. It does not support our fax machines, credit card machines, and especially our medical alert, because that's what the majority of our seniors throughout the whole county are using, or other monitoring devices, and high-speed or DSL internet services. So until they find out a way of improving upon the way it delivers service, I think that this one-year moratorium would be only right for the public, for the people here in Essex County and throughout the state of New Jersey. So I'm asking my colleagues to support me in this resolution to make sure that our county residents and our residents throughout the state of New Jersey can have the etiquette service that they need to live and to move on with their lives and communication.
Very good. Questions, comments, freeholders? No questions, no comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll list Resolution 33. Madam Clerk, do we have any added starter resolutions or ordinances?
Madam President, we have none.
Okay, let's go to the public comment session. Do we have anyone in the public who would like to comment? Please come to the microphone, state your name. Okay, Madam Clerk, no one is wish to speak at this time on the public comment sessions. Let me just go to other business and comments from freeholders. Freeholder Clark.
A couple of comments, briefly. One is that East Orange General Hospital will be holding its second affordable health care registration enrollment Saturday, starting at 10. I believe there was one. Well, I'll let you talk about it, and I'm sure it went well. But encourage anyone that you know who needs help with the enrollment process. They can come to East Orange General Hospital this Saturday. But here's the other part that I thought was really good. I talked to Ms. Robinson and Mr. Slavin, and they said that actually they can come to the hospital almost at any time, and someone will be willing to assist them if they need help figuring out how to get online and actually sign themselves up for the Affordable Care Act. So we do know that there's one place in Essex County where they can go to, and they don't necessarily have to have an appointment either to go. Just wanted everybody to know that. Secondly, the Board of School Estimate for Essex County College met. Myself and Freeholder Luciano were there. Voted on the budget tonight. And we voted on actually to list a portion of that in our packet tonight. Total budget for the year, for the school year, is $66,810,000, of which $11,350,000 is the county share. So that's what we're kicking in towards the overall budget at Essex County College. There's also a Chapter 12 budget of $2.5 million, and then there's just a little bit of cancellation of some funds from previous, I think, issuances. No, I know what it was. It was to allow the college to utilize funds that had been left over from a previous issue, and they're going to be able to utilize that. So that was good. It was a good meeting, and I'm just trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to share with you. I think that was it, Madam President. The third thing was that we were in South Orange today, myself and Freeholder Vice President and our clerk. Senator Menendez was there. Interestingly enough, you remember the two public safety people that we had. You had a person that night, Freeholder Gill, with the same night that Freeholder Siebold and Freeholder Owens and I did Chief Markey. Well, Chief Markey was there today. He gave remarks on behalf of the South Orange Fire Department because they were presented with a grant for firefighters. Again, this is their 5th year getting it. So kudos to South Orange. They were presented with a grant, Mr. Chilela, for over $300,000. And Senator Menendez and Congressman Payne, who sits on that committee with FEMA, they were there to make the presentation.
Very good.
So that's all I have to report out.
Very good. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Siebold.
Informing us of this event today in South Orange, and I was very happy that I was there.
Very good. Do we have any other comments, freeholders, that you would like to make at this time? Freeholder Gill.
And I better say this, but Senator Booker helped with that too.
You want to make sure you got that in.
It wasn't mentioned at the event.
I love that.
It's on record now.
It's on record. Very good. I like that. That's what I say. He did the best, right thing. Okay, do we have any other comments, freeholder? If not, I would like to just announce that our prayers go out to the passing of the father of Chief of Staff Phil Elijah, and also the Board of Election Kathy Sumter. Her father passed, and we will keep them in our prayers and send the proper condolences to the family. Do we have any other comments? If not, I'll read the questions, public comments. Freeholder budget consultant said that he's still awaiting the audits. Mr. McInerney, did you receive those audits yet?
I discussed that with Mr. Cielo. He's working on that. Will have it to me shortly.
Okay. All right, Mr. Cielo, keep working. We should have that by the next meeting? I don't want to...
Yeah, my understanding is the audits that are done will provide from Mr. McInerney, from the sheriff and the prosecutor. My understanding, they're 2-year audits. I believe the 12 and 13 audit has not been completed yet, but we'll give them the most completed up audit.
So what year are we asking for, Mr. McInerney?
Well, short of getting, the 12 audit could be helpful, but I'm sure there's some accounting. I think what I have to do is come down and make an appointment with Ralph.
That would be good.
See if not the audit, I'm curious to see what these balances are in these trust accounts.
Very good.
Okay.
I would suggest.
So
that
I will do that, madam.
I would suggest that we follow up with that way, Mr. McInerney. Okay, Mr. Freeholder Johnson asked the administration to clear the debris cluttering Springfield, South Orange, and Chancellor Avenues that had been revealed as snow piles that was sent out. The response went to the administration 13th. Response came back on the 14th. Freeholder,
yes,
you should have that in your package.
Yes, I do.
This evening. Freeholder Gill has engaged, asked the administration to engage in discussions with the Save Our Reservation organization, organizing their concerns with the U.S. Army Corps. That memo went to the administration on the 13th. The response came back on the 14th, and Freeholder Gill, you should have that in your package.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Freeholders, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.